Hello, we are continuing on with the chapter on working with Excel. We're in practice file 4, and we're going to look at loading existing Excel files. So, we're going to use openpyxl, and instead of creating a workbook completely from scratch, which we've done the past couple files, we're going to load in the mock grades Excel file that I have provided for you already here in the repository. You can look at it if you want. So we have just 10 students in each sheet here, a few different sheets representing different classes with student names and their grades. So let's just jump back over here. So the way you can do this is you can say, I'm just going to call mine an external workbook. We can use openpyxl, and specifically it has a load workbook method attached to it. And what you need to do here is provide it with a string that tells you the location of this Excel file. So if you just opened up this, this repository in VS Code, and there's no other folders above this folder that you're working with, it's actually really simple. You can just type in the name of the file. But if you've opened it in some other different way, it might look a little bit different. Just to make sure it works for everyone, what you can do actually is right-click this file right here and just say copy relative path. And the relative path, if you have it opened like me, is literally just going to be the name of the file. If you're on Windows, I'd also recommend putting an R before that, especially if you start getting more complicated file paths. That'll just make sure that it always works, partly because the way that Linux and Windows and Mac do slashes are different. I'm on a Mac, so we do slashes this way. On Windows, they do their slashes this way, which sometimes gets interpreted as a escape character. But if you put R, then it makes it just work, no matter which way the slashes go. So that should work if you right click and do relative path. You can also just do copy path. Let's see what that looks like. So you'll notice this is much longer, and I'm on a Mac, so the way file paths on Macs work is this is showing the exact location on my specific computer where mockgrades.xlsx is located. So I have it in my personal folder, I have it stored right now on Dropbox, and I have it stored within a few different folders down through here. And either way will work. You can use a absolute path, which is what this is called, because it's the absolute location of it, or you can use a relative file path. I would recommend if you can get it to work, to just always use relative file paths. That way, if I were to send this code to someone else and they open the folder in the same structure like this would work the exact same. They wouldn't have to change any of my code. But if I sent someone a file and it looked like this, that would not work at all, because this is my specific computer. This is the specific location on my specific laptop that I'm working off of right now. So they'd have to update this and change it. This just is a much less hard coding way of referencing external files. So hopefully you can get that to work. One way to check is just to run it at this point. And if there's no errors so far, then you're good to go. So let's see, we are loading in this mock grades. So we can get sheet names, and you can't really see them very beautifully like this, but let's just talk about it. Let's say external workbook.sheet names. So if we're to print this out, it just gives us basically a list. If you wanted to, you could also loop through it. So for sheet name and external workbook.sheet names, print sheet name. You could get each one of them one at a time, like that. And it just gives you a string of what those sheet names were. If you remember, if I click back over here, let's see, we're with mock grades. We have IS 201, accounting 200, IS 303. That's just it's just giving us the titles of each one of those sheets. That was number 3. So that's the one that goes there. Let's go to number 4. Okay, so this just gives us strings of what the sheet names are. If you do .worksheets though, then you get actual worksheet objects. So let's just say for worksheet object in external workbook .worksheets. So now each time I loop through this is going to give me an entire worksheet object, which then lets me get access to individual cells. So let's say I do, what do I want to do? Print out the value of A2. Let me do a little bit more complicated string so you can see what's going on here. So let's say I want to print out the sheet name of this. So sheet name. So I can reference this worksheet and get the, what is it, title of the worksheet, to get the sheet name of it, value of A2. So I have my worksheet object. Then I can just do A2 right there, and that should give me the value of it. So let's run this. Okay, so in IS201, we're getting access to A2 here, and we're seeing it's printing out weird. That's because we actually need to go right here and do .value. So let's try that again. There we go. So we have the sheet name in IS201. A2 value is William Miller, then Jennifer Taylor and James Smith. If we were to open up our actual Excel file again, A2, okay, William Miller, IS201, William Miller is right there, accounting 200, Jennifer Taylor, IS303, James Smith. So cool. So this gives us the entire worksheet objects, which means we can get whatever we want. We can get the title of that worksheet. We could assign it to be the active sheet, whatever we want to do. We can get access any individual cell within that worksheet, and we can loop through each one of them. You might want to add data to a worksheet that you're grabbing. So let's try doing that. Let's get whatever the active sheet is. So let's say, what do we call it? External workbook. Let's do dot or active to get the active sheet. Let's append list to append. So the way append works is that it's expecting a list. You can do other things as well, but a list is the best way to do this because we have 2 columns in each one of our sheets. So this is going to put new test student in column A and A++ in column B. So if we were to run this, one thing you're going to notice, even if I close out of this and open it back up, it's not going to be in there, and that's because we're not actually saving a new copy of it, so we can't see the changes. You could, if you wanted to, do save and then call this mock grades.xlsx. I'm not going to do this though because that would change my original file, and just so I don't mess with the practice files that I'm going through, I'm going to call it something different. But you could call it the same thing as what you're working with. Just know that you can't go back. There's no like Control Z. So if you make a change to mock grades, it's going to be permanently changed. So just to prevent that, I'm going to do that. I'm going to close it just as a good habit. Let's run that. So now we have example 04 because we're in practice file 4. If I were to open that up, and what do you know? In our active sheet, we have a new test student whose grade is A++. Awesome. Because we just appended that data to whatever the active sheet was, and then we saved our workbook in openpyxl with a new file name over here. And our original file, mock grades, is untouched because we just imported it, we made changes, and then we saved it as something new. It's sort of like doing save as if you're actually working inside of Excel. Okay, so that'll be the end of this one. Next video, I'm going to do files 5 and 6 and maybe 6P1 as well, all in one video. So, alrighty, thanks.